Hello.
Hey, man. What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a little quiet. I'll just turn you up. It's all good. How's it going?
Um, terrible. Just dealing with horrible, crushing depression.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Um,
Yeah, but what are you gonna do?
I mean, if it's any consolation, I've been dealing with stuff like that my entire life. More anxiety than
Yeah,
depression, but, it's always kind of lingering there in the background.
I've had anxiety for the longest time, but the meds I'm on at least get rid of the anxiety, which is
Oh,
good.
yeah. Um, well, I mean, I'm glad you're feeling better in that regard. Anxiety is got to be one of the craziest things to try to live with. Um,
Fucking annoying.
Yeah, it's
Just
really annoying.
irritating as shit.
You'll just be doing something, and all of a sudden you'll just be overcome with dread, and it won't really have a discernible cause or source or anything like that. It's just hey, I'm suddenly scared. It's fuck.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and it prevented me from getting out of bed a lot. Sucks.
yeah, for me it
But
prevents stable employment and shit.
yeah, it sucks. Um, yeah, so the bivalve thing.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, so before, I think you kind of knew my opinion on it. I acknowledge there's more evidence in favor of bivalves not being sentient,
Hmm.
but I just use the precautionary principle. Um, Now I'm much more leaning towards them not being sentient. The reason is some new research I saw on how just even single individual neurons can actually perform pretty complex tasks.
Yeah.
So, given that, yeah, they only have nerve ganglia, they don't have a brain nervous system, I'm 99% sure they're not sentient. And it's just that the nerve ganglia that they have are just performing tasks that are seeming that would indicate they're sentient, but just these individual structures, even on their own, can perform pretty complex tasks. So that's my
Yeah.
stance on it now.
So the complex behavior is not necessarily, it ceases to be a sufficiency criteria for inferred
Yeah,
sentience, basically. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I could get behind that. I mean, I have no question they perform complex actions, they swim away from predators with the appearance of intention. So I mean, they obviously behave in ways that fuck with our intuition to be oh man, these things look like they function with intention. They look like they function um they look like they function with some kind of consciousness, but it need not be there, because those behaviors can be kind of performed with I don't know, just
yeah,
a single neuron, for example. You could
yeah,
probably capture a lot of those behaviors just with single neurons.
yeah. So I still wouldn't eat them personally, but I'm not gonna, you know, um, do any moral fagging on anybody who eats them.
Yeah. I mean, that's a relief, because I just had a bowl of scallops last night.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think it's a moral issue personally. Especially, so Barnacle's in the chat, and she actually was responsible for giving me a pretty strong argument. Because she sent me this research paper. This 16-year-old girl grew a brain on her ovary, right? So it's
whoa, weird.
yeah, she grew a pretty substantial proportion of a brain on one of her ovaries, and it's well, if she wanted that removed, I mean, if you were in favor of preserving bivalves on the basis of sentience because they have a few nerve ganglia, or cerebral ganglia or whatever, what about this brain tissue? If you could keep the brain tissue on life support, would you be in favor of that? And it's I honestly wouldn't care. I don't think it would be a moral action to put it on life support or take it off life support or throw it in the trash, personally.
Yeah. Um, I know there's some researchers who are actually beginning to think that maybe there is some level of sentience even in like single neurons,
Hmm.
but like then you have to just really question whether it's a trivial level of sentience. So,
Yeah. And like just to be
assuming
clear, sorry, go on.
yeah, like assuming even if we could agree to that, like I wouldn't really consider that level of sentience meaningful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I can get behind that. I mean, like, but just to be clear about what we mean by like trivial sentience, like I've always thought of that as a subjective experience without the capacity for preferences. Like, so having
Yeah,
no emotional states. It's just like the presence of conscious experience in any minimal form simpliciter without like any of the other baggage. Like that's kind of what I think about.
like you could come up with weird hypotheticals where you could have like a highly intelligent, highly sentient being that doesn't care if it like suffers or not.
Yeah,
Be
yeah,
incredibly
yeah,
unlikely, but I
yeah. Of
mean,
course. Yeah.
like if we're talking about just being able to distinguish, I don't know, electrical signals or like recognizing colors like the color blue and like that's the extent of it. Like there's no ability to experience well-being.
Hmm.
Like I would consider that, non like not a substantive amount of sentience where I'd care.
Yeah, I think that's probably actually a closer approximation to what my intuitions were kind of pointing towards, was just like if there's sentience but there's no capacity for like well-being, I'm not sure what value the sentience necessarily has, although there might be problems with that too and I'd have to think about it. But I think so if somebody is going to take the position that single neurons could have the potential to be sentient, that opens up a huge can of worms for like reductios on the bivalve thing, because then like even things like severed finger on life support, like
Yeah.
the reductio would get even more absurd. you know
Yeah. Like obviously there's a level of sentience where you're just not going to care. And if all sentience is meaningful, then yeah, you're gonna have to like, you know, not not allow a severed finger to necrotize or something.
Yeah, yeah. Man, a lot of people piled in here. Did you like put out a bulletin or something?
No. I
I
How?
just
made
uh,
I made a
I
ping for
just
you.
hopped in the chat.
Oh, Dantos, of course. He's always on top of like the pings. Like whenever these conversations come up, he always puts out bulletins and stuff. Yeah, so I think we're probably pretty much on the same page about bivalves. That's kind of what I suspected, even with your previous opinion on bivalves. Like I suspected that we just end up pretty close to being on the same page, such that like it wouldn't be a huge point of contention between us. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, not much. I don't know if you're terribly familiar with Frank, but like Frank Tofano, but he has like a gold mine of horse shit.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen his stuff before. Yeah, he's a gibberish generator, like extraordinaire. Um, I actually think he's probably a bit of a grifter too. Seems to be in denial about a lot of things too. Um, yeah, he's a
I
weird
know for
cat.
sure he's a massive grifter.
Yeah, he's a massive grifter. I know that. Like he fake cries on camera for donations. He does all sorts of cringy
Yeah.
stuff. Oh my god.
And I think there was some other channel, I can't remember the fucking name, but if I remember, I'll send him to you. There's some jackass who's supporting Mark Sisson,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I got into an argument with him. He was claiming Mark Sisson isn't on steroids, and literally in community posts in his blog that he runs, I think only 3 months ago, he was talking about the steroids he's on.
Yeah, he's talking about TRT because he's like an old dude now.
Well, I think fucking way longer than that, like at least 10 years ago. I think he deleted it from his blog, but he was actually admitting he was taking steroids for performance enhancing reasons. He was saying something along the lines of like, if you're interested in getting bigger and stronger and shit. Like, why the hell wouldn't you take steroids? And he even admitted he was on them because like he's interested in like maximizing vitality or some bullshit.
Yeah, I wouldn't even
Yeah.
contest that. Yeah, like if you want to get as big and strong as you can, fucking yeah, juice yourself up. Like that's probably the way to do it.
Well, I mean, you can look at Mark Sisson's social media history. Like the dude's always been in good shape, but like he was getting older, and then all of a sudden he gained like fucking at least 10 pounds of muscle. So it's clear what was going on. I don't know how any of his fan base are under the delusion he's natural.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I'm not super familiar. I mean, I'm familiar with Mark Sisson, but like, I haven't read any of his like blog material or anything like that. I just know like kind of, I'm aware of him kind of in a peripheral sense. Like he's
He's
a
a weird guy.
yeah. I mean, I've seen some interviews
Um,
with him. I know kind of the inferences that he runs or the kind of dialogues that he runs, but they seem like really
well,
uninteresting.
the like what's really weird about him is he supports like the paleo primal thing.
Hmm.
He'll make a lot of articles about how saturated fat isn't bad for you and shit, and high cholesterol is fine. If you actually look at his diet, it looks like he knows he's full of shit, and he eats a lot of plant-based foods.
Yeah,
Like he'll
yeah, yeah.
say, like, "Oh yeah, eating lots of high fat is great," and then what he'll have like a big salad with avocado, and it's like, okay, that's not what you're talking about when you make these articles.
Yeah, because he paints like a caricature of like a diet that's like rich with like huge pieces of like fatty steak and like minimal vegetables, and it's like some kind of like low carb or like low plant food kind of like caricature of a part of a paleo diet or whatever. And then when you actually look at his
And
actual
he
diet, it's
just
like
does not eat like that.
yeah, it's like big salads and salmon and like tons of like non-starchy vegetables and like you know like low sugar fruits and stuff like that. It's like not at all what he talks about in his interviews at least.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, that's it. I just need to go eat. I just was cycling for like an hour.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. Well, thanks for stopping by and clearing that up. It'll definitely get like a lot of my followers off my back about the bivalve thing because they've been wanting me to talk to you for like at least like 2 or 3 months about this. So
Sure.
hey, everybody, it finally happened. So y'all can leave me alone now.
All right, man. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Right. So everybody happy now?
This is going to be up on your channel.